Hello, class. This week is about Chapter 8 and social computing. And a lot of social computing has to do with the Web 2.0. So the original World Wide Web, which is an interconnected series of documents and pages on the internet, was really static, meaning you would go onto the site to look for some basic information. It would tell you that information, and that was it. And the Web 2.0 is really about interactive activities on these sites. So you go to look for information, but also you play a little game to give your opinion on that particular product or something like that. So this Web 2.0, the software and all the superstructure for it has turned into some pretty interesting things for businesses, both positive and negative. One is you get just some strange creations. So you hear the term folksonomies, and that means it's no longer just experts kind of classifying data on the web, it's individuals. So when you put a hashtag on Twitter, you're participating in that type of activity. Geotagging is another one. So you go for a hike and you take a picture and you can mark on that picture that you were at Sleeping Giant State Park. And you might be part of a hiking group, and so your pictures are posted to a map from the hiking group, and people can see where the different members have been. That's an example of that. Also, RSS feeds is another one. An RSS feed is instead of going out actively across the web looking for information, you can set up funnels to bring information to you. So you might say to ESPN that I'm interested in, the National Football League. You set up an RSS feed so anytime they publish a story on the NFL that it gets sent automatically to you, and so you don't have to go out and get that. So those are some interesting things. So all of the more interactive functions of the web are Web 2.0, blogs, social networks like Facebook or Snapchat, wikis like Wikipedia where people add and modify data. That's all part of the Web 2.0. Now, there are a lot of negatives for businesses in this new world of the Web 2.0. One being they cannot totally control the information. And one thing that's important to companies, especially large corporations, is controlling the message. What values are getting out there about your business? What do you want people to know about your products? And so because the web is so open, the internet is open, anybody can post their opinion almost anywhere now. If you do something wrong or someone is angry with you, it's very easy for them to push that message out contrary to your own. And the traditional mode of thought was that if someone is happy with your product or service, they might tell one person, and if they're unhappy, they're probably going to tell 14. So this is amplified by the web that a lot of the commentary is negative, and so your reputation can take a real hit online now without you really being able to control it. And the companies that do try to control negative messages that get out there often get accused of hiding things, and it ends up being worse for them than before. So that can be tough for businesses to deal with. Also, what's tough is how quickly trends change. When you think about something like the Ice Bucket Challenge last year, which was for a charity course, it came out in a flash and it was around for a couple of months and it was gone. So if you're a company that has to deal with trendiness, like you're part of a clothing company or something, the life cycle of some of these trends and fads that come on are very brief, and you're constantly working on new things. You have to have large staffs tracking the stuff and figuring out how to stay sort of hip to what your particular demographic is looking for that product line. So that can be very tough. There are certainly many positives to this new type of website that's out there. And one is that you can create a lot of new sales drivers. So before you had maybe traditional print media, and you might be able to run a TV ad if you were a national corporation, send some direct mail or something. Now you can create a unique series of YouTube videos and invite other people, the general public, to make similar videos and participate in a contest or something like that. So you've got people that are thinking about your brand and your product line, actively participating in it, being creative and interacting with your company. So you can set up ways for all that to drive up sales. And it's shown that, if you have some sort of unique interactive experience set up through a site like YouTube, that your sales are going to go through the roof. If you have the right message, if you sort of get what you're doing, and people get what you're doing. So there's also the idea of conversational marketing, that it's not just this one way, hey, we have this washing machine and you should buy it because it's great. It's you can interact with people. Let's say they post on Facebook that they had a horrible time on their camping trip because their tent ripped and they got rained on the whole weekend. And so if you're a tent manufacturer or you're an Eastern Mountain Sports or something, you can send out a coupon for a tent and say, hey, sorry you had a horrible time, but here's a coupon for a new tent so the next time you won't be so wet. And you can also encourage other people to spread those kinds of messages. So people are out there saying, hey, I used this product today and it was really fantastic. You should try it as well. So that's an example of a great opportunity for a business through this sort of new world. Now, there's a couple of sort of really unique things that have come up that are business opportunities that certainly large established businesses aren't always prepared to deal with. And one of these areas is called collaborative consumption, meaning instead of, and the textbook uses this example, instead of buying your own car, you participate in one of these services where you can walk up to where this car is parked, swipe your card across it or something, or punch in a pin that they give you, and you can drive it to wherever you want. So it's sort of the democratization of usage of commercial goods. So they're using that stuff with bicycles and cars. And in a way, a service like Uber is also collaborative consumption. People that have vehicles and don't use them for their own personal use all the time, make them available to people who need rides. And so it's hurting the traditional industry, which is, taxis, but a lot of people are happy with it, and it's, bringing in a lot of revenue. So that's one area. Another one is crowdsourcing, that, you can say, hey, I've always wanted to have a movie production company, and we're going to specialize in films that outline some of the major social issues that we have today, but you don't have 10 or 20,000 to set up the equipment you need. So you can go out and crowdsource it and promise people T-shirts or special clips from the movie that won't be released in exchange for some funding, and people have been really successful with this as well. So those are new opportunities for smaller businesses, and also frightening sort of things that are happening for larger established businesses. And then finally, this new Web 2.0 assists with the recruiting, hiring process for any type of organization, because it's much easier in some ways to connect to people that you can go on LinkedIn and you can see what they're about and their picture and those kinds of things. It's also more difficult because you post a job posting on Monster or Career Builder or Indeed or those things, and you get 10,000 hits from people that have nothing to do with what you're looking for. So it can be a challenge for, again, larger organizations to deal with the deluge of applicants that are coming in. And so many organizations have software set up that will sort of cut right through. So, like the Yale Hospital system is one that if you don't meet a certain percentage of the keywords, the hot buttons that they're looking for in your cover letter and resume, that you get dumped and your resume is never even seen by a person. So, on the other hand, for job seekers, sometimes it can be easier to find things, but there's going to be more competition for the jobs that you do find. And also, you have to remember that now your activities sometimes live forever online, that I'm sure you've heard some of the stories, but it's absolutely true. There will be companies that they're all set to hire someone, and they're in the final stages of checking them out before they make them a formal offer, and they see pictures of them, being drunk with minors on, on Snapchat or Facebook or something, and they say, no, we don't want to have anything to do with this. And you can't always get rid of those records once you've created them. So for companies, the issue is bad press. For individuals, the issue is bad press of your own that you've created. If you wrote some crazy sort of editorial about making weed legal and in your college newspaper, and it goes online and it stays up there forever, a conservative business that might be looking at hiring you as an accountant might say, this is not the kind of person for us. And they're always looking for little things to cut people out of the process for, because so many people are similar now and there's so many applicants. So those are just all of some of the really interesting things that are going on with social computing and the web. And obviously this presents a lot of challenges both for the strategic planners and businesses, but especially for the MIS personnel and the IT personnel. So enjoy reading about this stuff, and we will talk to you next week.